Welcome to the GREENPOINT Williamsburg News Magazine. Neighborhoods Today. On this edition, join us for a Neighborhoods Today Christmas. Season's greetings and happy holidays. In this season of giving, we are delighted to share some of the many holiday traditions with our viewing audience. To unwrap our holiday special, we have a musical selection from the PS 250 chorus. This time of the year brings out the artist in all of us. So let us join Angel Capolino at Public School 250 with members of their art department.
Hi again, and I have the pleasure to stand here between the two ladies that are responsible for decorating the hall and making our stay here very beautiful. I would first like to speak to Miss Pappas for a moment. She's the art teacher here at 250, and this table is wonderful. Maybe we should talk a little bit about this, because I see there's different articles from various cultures, and they're all celebrating their holidays. Yeah,
that's
okay.
Right. When I first started talking to the children, they were only familiar with their own holidays. So I wanted them to see that different cultures can also be similar. So we tried to cover different areas of the globe and their different traditions, and they found that many of our American traditions come from other countries as well, so there are a lot of similarities. What we tried to focus in on, however, were the differences, because we wanted to show that each country was special and unique, and we wanted to show what they were well known for. And you can take a look at some of these later on. They're really, I think that they captured the essence.
And the craftsmanship is beautiful. We were talking earlier, from being able to do this, has that opened up some ideas or avenues in which they would like to continue?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I had 2 boys that were working on a basket over here, and they were so taken with the craft itself that they are planning on continuing the art of basketry individually.
Well, it's a beautiful display. You should be very proud of your children.
I am.
I hear that from the 1st grade up.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
great.
In India, they celebrate a festival called Diwali, which is a sort of winter solstice thing. Even though they don't get snow, they do celebrate the sun. And these are Diwali pots, which start as pinch pots, and the 1st graders that made them were really taken with the clay. They worked from a little ball and just pinched it out, and they came out quite beautifully.
Well, you should be very proud of them, and the school should be very proud of you for doing all the research, obviously, and for pulling it together. And now I have the pleasure to introduce you, Miss Weathers.
Mrs. Weathers.
Okay, and she's responsible for this wonderful theatrical set that we have here. Now, was it your ideas? You took the ideas? Did your children help you?
Well-
Who came up with this?
Mr. Quayle, the principal, wanted the children's work displayed, so while Mrs. Pappas was working in classroom, I was working in the auditorium, you know, decorating, and I had some children to assist me.
Yeah, I don't know, Jim, if you can see on the Christmas tree all the lovely little homemade decorations that make it seem very homey and warm here. And we were talking earlier about these lovely birds. Can you catch these doves? They're beautiful. And again, this was all of Mrs. Weathers' ideas. Okay, well, I would like to wish you both a very happy holiday. And again, thanking from the rest of the crew for making our stay so pleasant.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye-bye.
Happy
Please
holidays.
sit.
This time of the year, we also learn about Hanukkah, the festival of the lights. Rena Marie Peltz interviewed a gentleman whose children attend Public School 250, Mr. Stanley Denka.
Stanley, thank you so much for taking just a little time out of your very hectic schedule and joining me. And you've been gracious enough to sit here with me and give me a little information on Hanukkah. So that's what we're here to talk about. And I know that Hanukkah is also called the Festival of Lights.
Right.
And it's a celebration of miracles.
Right.
So why don't you just start with a little history so that other people that are watching who may not really understand what Hanukkah is about could become a little bit more informed.
Sure. As you know, 2,000 years ago, with the Jews, the Jewish people at that time were not, they were actually slaves. They were not freedom. They were not free people. And the wind-up is they called the Maccabee army, which defeated the Syrian army. They were not soldiers that were equipped to do that, to fight, but they were all made up of, there were shepherds, farmers, and teachers. But what they did, they had one advantage over the Syrian army. They knew where to hide in the wood, in the forest. And the wind-up is they conquered the Syrian army. That was considered one of our miracles. Mm-hmm. And another miracle was that they were looking for oil to burn a menorah. Mm-hmm. They found a small little jug of oil, which was supposed to actually burn for 1 day. But it burned for 8 days, brightly for 8 days, and that was our second miracle.
So then Hanukkah really represents these two miracles. The first miracle, which would be the Maccabees
defeating the army.
Mm-hmm.
And the second was the oil that's supposed to light for 1 day that lit for 8 days.
Okay. And now I see in front of me a menorah. Right. And the menorah is representative of the 8 days which the oil burned. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Right, this represents, Hanukkah menorah represents the 8 days. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 8, mm-hmm. which is the 8 days. And this is the shamus. The shamus is the helper, which they use to light the other days. Mm-hmm. Now, the way it's lit, the first day is the shamus on 1 day, the second day is the shamus on 2 days, and so on, until all the candles are lit. Right. This will take a total of 44 candles totally when it's all completed after 8 days.
Right, because after each day, the candle would burn down, so...
Right, and you would add to it.
Another one. Well, can we put the candles in now?
Sure.
Would that be all right?
All right.
All right, let's do that. And as you said, this is the main candle from which all other candles are lit.
This is called the sham. This is the candles helper.
Is there a certain way to light the candles?
The candles are lit from left to right,
Okay.
but they're inserted from right to left. In other words, the first day would be, this actually would be the first day would be the shamus and 1 day.
All right.
The second day would be the shamus and 1, 2. And the third day would be the shamus 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
This would go on for a complete 8 days.
Now, I also know that it's customary for each day of Hanukkah to exchange small gifts. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it's actually, each day, it starts off with a small gift the first day. And the second day gets a little bit bigger, the gift gets a little bit more bigger and more expensive. And this goes on for a total of 8 days. So actually, you say the children get presents for 8 days in comparison to 1.
They must love it.
Oh, they do, they do.
Well, is it just for children, or is it for adults also?
Well, actually, it's for children. Actually comes to the point of children. But there's one main thing as far as the gifts go. A gift that's made, handmade, is considered a more valuable gift than anything that's bought, because people feel, our Jewish people feel, that if a gift is made, handmade, is the person in mind who is made for is thought of on that holiday.
Stanley, I noticed that at the end of the table here, we have something that looks like a little top. Can you tell me what this is?
Yeah, this is one of the games that they play during Hanukkah.
Children?
Right, the children play. It's called dreidel. It's actually a top. What they do is the children sit around in a circle, and they all have their candies and things that they get as gifts, like on a holiday.
Right, I noticed this is filled with little candies.
Yeah, there's candies in there. If you want to open it up, as you can see it here.
Right.
And it closes, and the kids eat it. Now, what they usually do, they put this in the center. Each of the children play in the center. It's more like a betting game. And they spin it. They spin the top, right? And it lands on different letters. One letter means to take in, the other one means to put in, the other one's to take out, the other one's leave alone, and the other one's to share. So each letter represents what you do in the game. These are actually the small ones that they actually spin, but this is filled with candy as a gift.
Now, is this what family members might bring for the little
Right,
for children?
They fill them up with candy, or they fill up what they call Hanukkah geld, which means Hanukkah money. Geld means money in Jewish.
All right. Well, I'm curious about food. Are there certain types of foods that you might prepare for?
One of our delicacies for the holiday, for Hanukkah, is lactis, actually known in English as potato pancakes. I think a lot of people know about potato pancakes. Now, one of the reasons why they use that is because it contains oil. It's fried in oil. The oil that represents the oil that we use to light the menorah.
Oh, which you spoke about earlier, the oil
Right.
which should have lasted 1 day, but actually lasted 8 days.
Right. And besides that, we also have donuts. Anything fried in oil is one of the delicacies that we use during the Jewish holiday.
Okay, well, you know what I think I'd like to do? Your son Brian and your daughter Darlene are here. I'd like to call them over. Why don't you come on over, kids? And I know that it's customary for the youngest child in the family to light the first candle of Hanukkah.
Let's fix this up. Now, as you can see, he's lighting it from left to right.
Okay, great. And then he puts this one back in.
That's the last one.
This one went out.
From the back.
That one's just a bit stubborn. You know, let's move on. There we go.
Hold straight.
Well, thank you, Darlene, thank you, Brian, and thank you, Stanley, for joining me, and I hope you all have a very happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Thank you.
The festivities of the holiday season are wonderfully exciting and even tiring. But the onset of winter also means the much dreaded cold and flu season. Here to talk about the do's and don'ts of winter stress is Dr. Leon Nadrowski with Health Update.
Thank you, Dick. Today I would like to speak to you about the cold and flu. You're all familiar with the symptoms of the cold and the flu, which is a little more severe, and that is they're having a nasal congestion, a little sore throat, a fever with chills and aches. The best treatment for that is bed rest, a lot of fluids, and if you want to increase your vitamin C to 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams, that's perfectly all right. But there is no treatment with antibiotics. Antibiotics do not touch and do not have any effect on the virus. So taking antibiotics for colds or for flu is bad because it could actually destroy the normal bacteria of the intestinal tract. By destroying that bacteria, you now have an overgrowth of bad bacteria in the tract. So then you can end up, unfortunately, with an inflammatory intestinal tract which may need surgical intervention, which you don't want. But if your symptoms of flu and also of cold, which is milder, it may last, let's say, more than 3-4 days, you should see a doctor, because then you may have, on top of the viral infection, a bacterial infection. And this bacterial infection could be overwhelming, which is what had happened with Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor neglected her flu, neglected her bacterial infection, and she needed a tracheostomy, which is a cut in the neck and an opening of her trachea for an airway. That you don't want. So you should see a doctor after 3-4 days if you don't have symptoms abated, you may have a bacterial infection, and he will treat you thereafter. One other word I'd like to just describe about the problem during the winter when you have snow. Patients who have cardiac disease, heart disease, they should not go out to shovel snow because the patients with heart diseases can end up with cardiac failure or even a heart attack while shoveling snow, which could be devastating. And I would just like to mention that you'll have a healthy winter if you listen to some of my suggestions. And also, I'd like to wish everybody a healthy and happy holiday. Thank you.
The holiday season brings with it a spectacular array of decorations and light displays. Christmas trees, menorahs, blinking lights on our doors and windows, they all create a festive and celebratory atmosphere. Unfortunately, the visual pleasures that we marvel at can also become fire hazards if we're not careful. Here is Larry Meads to tell us why.
Thank you, Dick. With the holiday season upon us, many of us may have our trees already up. Some are in the process as we speak of placing our trees. It's most important that we remember that if you're using a live tree, that the tree is watered daily. The receptacle of the tree stand is equipped to carry at least a pint to a quart of water. Make sure that that water level is there. We don't want to give fire a place to start. When you're applying your lights to your Christmas tree, do a visual inspection of the cords. Make sure that they're not worn or frayed. If you see a cord that looks as though it may give you trouble, don't use it. It's most important, again, that we do not give fire a place or a chance to start. When we put our trees up, make sure that they're not blocking your exit out of your apartment. If the window where it's near is the window to the fire escape, then try to make alternate plans so you can get out of your apartment using your secondary means of egress, as we spoke in the last program about our Edith drills and smoke detectors. It's most important that we have a smoke detector in that room where the tree is. A tree can ignite and light up a room within 3 minutes, and the temperatures within that room could reach between 8 and 1,000 degrees. You really are not afforded that much time to get out. In closing, let's once again remember that we have something here that can danger yourself. Although it is the holiday, it can cause a fire. Make sure that the wire and the water level are both maintained. Thank you and have a very Merry Christmas and the best in the new year.
Now let's join Ralph Lipoli to see what kind of culinary magic he has conjured up for us today.
And now Stan Epps of the Graham Avenue Greenery is going to show us how to make this otherwise gorgeous table more gorgeous. Stan, how are you?
How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. How would you make this table look better?
Well, you can do a very whimsical look of what I'm ready to show you on the topiary.
Okay.
Okay. And
That
what you
is
do
just beautiful.
is what it does is it creates an image for the table, which is whimsical. It's almost, you know, done at a fantasy aura to it, which the topiaries come out of the very Victorian stage and now are brought back into the future, you know, with new look and everything.
What I like about this is that you can have eye contact through it.
Right.
How do you keep this fresh?
Well, the best thing to do is take a misting bottle and mist it once a day.
How long do you think that'll last?
Well, it should last a couple of weeks.
Really, that long? Just mist it, nothing else?
Well, it depends on how they're made. This particular one is made with foil base. Okay, which that means that you only mist it. If it was done in a cage, then you would need to put it in your sink and soak it.
I see.
All right, so they all vary.
But you would tell the client how it's made and how to, of course, take care of it. Yeah. This is just absolutely gorgeous, and it's all holly to match our dishes, actually. That is absolutely gorgeous. And little red ornaments and pine cones, and this is statice.
Incense cedar and boxwood.
Just, isn't that absolutely beautiful? Now that you should have for your holiday table. What else do you have, and how else can you change this table?
Well, we can go from this unusual look to the more traditional, which I have one with me. Okay, and this one is done.
Now this is absolutely amazing. This is just so beautiful.
Okay. And that's done in a compo, and it's done with white orchids and tulips, with a mixture of Christmas greens.
I really find it amazing to have tulips in December.
Well, with Holland now, there are no seasons. And I like using the tulips because it's a little more unusual and a little more elegant than carnations.
I have to be really fess up and be perfectly honest with you. Stan and I did consult on what the table was going to look like so that he was able to coordinate. And that's important, isn't it? I mean, people should consult with you.
Definitely.
They shouldn't come in and say, I need a table piece.
That's correct.
You know. What else are you planning for the holiday?
Well, we're doing a lot of candle arrangements using hurricanes, and brass seems to be the item this year.
Really?
And of course, you know, lots of poinsettias.
How do you keep them?
Well, they should be in a cool area, not too hot, with no drafts. And you should water them, you know, like every other day just to make sure they're moist. And they should last you well throughout the year.
Yeah. The arrangement that we had at the very beginning on the sideboard, what was that?
Well, it was a complementary piece to the centerpiece here. It was a mixture of your greens, the white dendrobiums, and pine cones and holly.
Again, how would you keep that one fresh for the season?
You should at least water it once a day. Okay, and other than that, just keep it away from any heat.
Is there anything that you feel people should know about when buying flowers, or anything that usually one of your pet peeves that you'd like people to know about to help you and help them?
Well, they should, it helps when they have an idea of the lifespan of different flowers, because they don't all live the same time.
Right.
You have your more delicate flowers, such as the tulips, that are more for the instant. In other words, they're for the beauty at the time, but they don't last long. Unlike carnations, that will last you up to a month sometimes.
Right.
So it helps if they give you an idea if their expectations are they want something that's going to last a long time, or if they're just going to enjoy it for the short time.
Will you stay and have some cake with us?
I sure will.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us at Fanciful Feasting. I hope that we have helped make your holiday a little bit more joyous. I know we have helped make it a little bit more fattening. Have a healthy, happy, holy holiday. Bye-bye now.
This brings us to the end of our special edition of A Neighborhood Today Christmas. We would like to take this opportunity to wish all our guests a happy holiday. And on behalf of our Neighborhoods Today family, we wish you and your family health, happiness, and a very happy holiday.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry